live. I already don't love the lighting, but we're gonna deal with it. We're just gonna kind of deal with it. Well, I'm testing the lighting, see how much I like it and how much I hate it, and we will go from there. We'll see if I end up changing anything about it. But it exists. Better with or without glasses. I don't know. It's lighting that exists. I definitely need to figure out something better. Definitely don't like it. Definitely hate it. But I'm gonna force myself to sit through it for the duration of the live, just to make sure I hate it. Because I hate myself, I guess. But that's what we're doing. That's what we're gonna do, and that's what we got. It just doesn't look great. Maybe if I actually faced it, actually faced the camera. Maybe I need a light here. Well, I hate myself too, so we're in this together. Heck yeah. Team self-destructive. Let's go. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Why won't you let me close this? Why won't you let me close this? Thank you. Because that's how we should talk about ourselves, and that's how we should treat ourselves. Absolutely. Who needs to be healthy about things? There we go. You should be healthy about things. You should not hate yourself. It's bad. Bad things. Bad thoughts. Do not support the hating of oneself. I do not. Also, hello, Rick. Welcome. Just kind of hopped right in with hating ourselves. Happy Halloween. I mean, we're getting there. It's 99 days till Halloween. Starting to see some Halloween and fall stuff hitting the shelves. So excited. We're matching. Did you do that on purpose?
No.
Oh. Yeah.
We're matching.
Got our Halloween shirts.
That was not on purpose.
But yeah, it's getting spooky time.
Completely matching?
It's getting spooky time. And I am absolutely here for it. I mean, I wear the shirts all year round, so
yeah.
It's whatever. But it's even more exciting when it's getting to the time. Go get yourself some food. I don't know what either.
I don't know what.
Also, hello, Matthew.
I guess I have leftover pizza from last night.
Smoky.
But I was gonna save that for lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, it's up to you. We have options. We need to plan dinner for the next, not tomorrow, because we're going to your mom's, but the next 2 nights after that, right?
We'll be at Dad's.
Saturday.
Sunday.
Sunday. What do you want for food Sunday? Think about it. Can I ditch the cat? Unfortunately, no.
No.
I've formed an emotional bond to it, so unfortunately, I cannot. Yes?
I was gonna steal.
What do you got? You can steal for a bit.
Thank you.
How often? You don't need to know the answer to that question. That's inappropriate.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? I love and hate. This is something I can start on, that I can start a rant on. So it's been brought up in a couple post videos lately on my channel that slavery and indentured servitude in the Bible, and that they are two separate systems, both God is completely cool with in the Bible. And there's a lot of arguments that have taken place in my comment section about, you know, what the Hebrew word is. Does it actually say slave or indentured servitude? You know, what is it, this and all this? And I'm sitting here like, all right, there's a system in the Bible where you can purchase a human being, keep that human being as your property forever, even pass them down to your children as an inheritance after you die, and you can beat them with a rod so long as they don't die within a couple of days. But if they die after a few days, it's fine because they're your property anyway. I don't really care what you want to call that. Most people would agree that's slavery. You know, just owning a person and having them work for you. That's slavery. Most people would just kind of agree. But if you want to say no, the original Hebrew says this, sure. The original Hebrew could say fairy brother for all I care. It's a system that we would now recognize as slavery, because we attribute words and labels to shit. And when people try to play games and say like, oh, maybe it doesn't mean this, call it whatever you want. We can call it knighting them as king and queen. It's if we throw away the words that we've attached to meanings, I really don't care what we call it. But it's a system where you can own people as property, have them work for you, and beat them with a rod so long as they don't die within a couple of days. And you can have them for your life and pass them down to your kids as an inheritance after they die. Whatever you want to call that, most people would say that's slavery, but whatever you want to call that is whatever you want to call that. Same thing with indentured servitude. It's a system of servitude for paying off debt where you can't be mean to your servants. And they have to be let go every 7 years, unless you do a thing and have them be your servant for life. Whatever you want to call that. Most people would call that indentured servitude. But, you know, if the original Hebrew had a different word, the original Hebrew had a different word, you know, that translates to something different. Whatever. I get so annoyed at the word games. I get so annoyed at, let's just abandon the words that we've given to descriptions, because we don't like that, you know. Just Bible condones slavery. I don't like that. We'll call it indentured servitude, even though that's a completely separate system. You can call them both indentured servitude. It's just one of them is significantly nicer than the other, and you know, it's just we get it. It does annoy me when people try to like change the words to try to make it better, but also I don't care what we call it. Just the description. Look at the description of what this is. I don't care what you call it. Just look at the description of how horrible it is. God loves you. I'll pray for you, my dude. I appreciate it. We kind of do that to animals, form emotional attachments. Yeah, it's stupid. Like that cat of yours. Yeah. Best part is I'm allergic to them. So it's like they're actively causing suffering, but they're cute or some shit. I don't know. They are, you know, you love them. You love them. Yeah, I've never had, I don't know if I've ever had, at least it's been a while, this many people having a discussion over terms Is it slavery? Is it indentured servitude? Is it this? What does the original Greek say? It's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's fine to dive into this stuff and like try to understand it more and all that stuff. The discussion's great, but like when you're trying to do it in a way of saying no, it's not as bad, then yeah, not really here for it. Smokey.
Yes, he is, Rick. He is on TikTok.
I am on TikTok. Yeah. If you go to my bio, it has the all my socials and links and whatnots. If you want to check out there.
Also, hi, Rick.
You have mismatching earrings too. Nice, always good. So little fun. Square earrings. I can only do the little like spherical pearl ones. Everything else just gets caught on stuff and it drives me crazy. Like, I love the looks of like gems and stuff, but they just get caught on stuff and it's awful. I'm afraid of downloading TikTok because social media gives me anxiety. Fair. TikTok's not the greatest anyway.
I did have a good day. Thank you for asking.
I was about to read that for you, but you're on top of it.
I got it.
Social media is crazy these days, and TikTok is up there. I used to do live streams on TikTok, and I actually made some money. Like $10, $15 every few months or so. Wasn't any large amount, but like more than I've ever made in any kind of content creation. So like it was high, but I just hated how much you had to censor yourself in those live streams, and especially when I had guests on, because I would have guests, and not all of them knew how much you needed to censor yourself, because you needed to censor yourself to stupid degrees. Like, you couldn't say things that you should be able to say no problem. And they didn't always know that. So it got to the point where almost every time I had a guest, I lost my live privileges and had to put in an appeal to get it back. And it was a whole fucking thing. And I'm just like, as soon as I was able to like go live unrestricted on YouTube, once I got past 1,000 subs and whatnot, I just immediately switched over to YouTube. I think I might have given it like a week and then I switched over, because no, just not doing it. Born in 89. Yeah, so I mean, I already have issues with technology, and I was born in 97, so I can only imagine. I don't invest in any kind of crypto. No. Not really for me. And somebody commented on one of my posts talking about like people trying to say it's indentured servitude and not slavery in the Bible, just trying to make it sound not as bad as it actually is. And that's something. And they responded to somebody else's comment, but that's kind of how a lot of people look at the Bible. A lot of people will look at the Bible, and they'll have this idea of the Christian God, of this all-good, all-loving being, and it just doesn't really fit the God that we see in the Bible. So therefore, there just must be interpretations that need to be done, and we can twist and flip and cherry-pick verses and whatnot to try to make the God of the Bible into this good, all-loving God. Which is crazy, because I would feel like the Christians should just be trusting God no matter what. And some people do this, where, God drowns a bunch of babies. So what? He's still God. He must have a plan and whatnot. Like, people are supposed to trust, as gross as it is, people are supposed to trust God that much. But instead, there's all these Christians who say they trust him and have faith and follow him, who are trying to edit and change his words, his supposed word, into what their idea of an all-good, all-loving being should be. And it's just fascinating. It's very interesting to watch. It's very interesting. It's funny how Christians only debate atheists about their religion, but not the other versions of Christianity or other religions. Some of them do. I think atheism's the main opponent, but they definitely do. I remember I went to Catholic school, K through 12th grade, and they definitely talked about other denominations, especially Protestantism, and why they were wrong, and how wrong they were, and all of this other stuff. So I was definitely taught about the beef and about how stuff was wrong. Born in 2020, so like you've never had a good life is kind of what I'm hearing. I mean, shit, like
Same year as our daughter.
2020 hit and things just went completely off the rails, and they weren't doing great prior to that, but 2020 hit and it was COVID and all that stuff just really knocked us off track. And that's again also with in mind that we weren't doing that great to begin with. Do I have any held or hidden responses? I read all of these. This person asked, do you want a monster? And then used an expletive. And then said Psalms 37:20. So we'll see what this commenter wants me to look at. Psalm 37:20. But the wicked shall perish. Right? Yeah. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume into smoke, they shall consume away. Cool. Not really worried about it. Just an old soul. I definitely don't think I could have figured out how to use the internet at the age of 5. I barely know how to use it now.
I mean, our daughter has shown us things.
Oh yeah. She's
Kind of
she
figures
learns,
some things out.
She does. It's crazy that like she knows stuff that I don't sometimes, and like she teaches me stuff. She will go places.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous when people call science a faith. It's like calling counting a faith. Yeah, science doesn't require any kind of faith. It's just kind of science. It's just facts backed by evidence, testable, repeatable, observable, tangible evidence. It has no faith in whatsoever. There's reason to believe. I try to live my life by reason to believe what I have reason to believe. We meet again. Hello, Xenoworks. Hello, Broken Spirits. Welcome, welcome, both of you. Welcome back, I should say. Good to see you. Why doesn't it go down more? I'm trying to scroll down more in my notifications here and it doesn't want it. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. And there's more people just like trying to just change the terms and whatnot. Well, this one isn't as bad. It's just Hebrew versus foreign slavery. And this is a paragraph. We're all slaves to something. What matters is the master. We are all slaves, so we should at least choose a good master, the master of all the heavens and the earth, and one who rose from the grave and conquered nations, who did wicked things. See, that's just crazy when people bring up that kind of language of like, we need to be like slaves submitting to God, our master. It's just gross. You were talking about science? At some point. I'm just kind of rambling about whatever. Do you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Can't say I do. Doing so my master? Sounds better than having God, frankly. You could do worse. You could do worse. God loves you. Cool. I was talking to my sister the other day about how my sister will start talking about like Trump and all the stuff he's doing, and my mom will just be like, just trust the process and whatnot. It'll all be okay. And a lot of our family, all of them, I come from a Christian conservative family, Republican family, and so does my wife. We know who they voted for. We just do. Except for one or two of them that are cool. Probably more than one or two, but except for a couple of them that are cool. And I just don't want to have that conversation. Just seeing the atrocities and knowing that people like me are probably going to be somewhere down the list of people attacked and already are. And just being like, y'all voted for this. Y'all voted for this. Isn't it fantastic? Thank you so much for voting for this. It's like, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
What? I don't want to have that conversation. What's that? Just out of cookies?
No.
Oh.
Not good.
Not good?
Stale.
Ah.
Because
How long has it been sitting?
I literally bought it the other day.
Oh, it just
but
wasn't sealed.
it was not sealed properly. It was like
I get stuff like that.
it was like that.
Yeah, I see stuff like that way more than I should. I've
Also,
learned to like
they're
really
stale.
check people.
They're stale. No good.
The best way to get to know him is to read his word. I have. So you don't believe. I don't.
Yeah.
Illusion of choice. What's the illusion of choice? And it tears people apart. I do agree with that. Look how much more people are against each other. More than it has ever been. I don't know if it's more than it's ever been, but it's definitely not great. Definitely a lot of chaos in the world. Politics. The world kind of sucks. And a new conflict just broke out between, it was Cambodia and, I should know this. Cambodia and Thailand. Just more shit with them. And just armed conflicts and disputes and stuff. And it's just like, I hate this planet. I hate this world. This world kind of just sucks. Just more violence, more bloodshed, more grown-ass adults who can't get along, so they send their people to kill each other. They send the pawns to kill other pawns to see who can get to the king or queen. If that's how chess works. It's gross, and it's sad, and it's a waste of human life.
I'm sad now.
I'm sad now.
I really wanted those.
I'm still waiting for those Halloween ones. I think you still have a roll of some in your thing,
Probably.
but it probably expired. They should be sealed. You need to go through that, Tub.
I do. I know I do. Just hasn't been on the highest.
Neighbor against neighbor. Just can't have peace. So long as there are at least 2 people on this planet, I don't think we'll have peace. It's just not how it works, you know? It's the unfortunate truth. And what can you do? What can you do? Try to speak out, try to bring people together, try to fight back against the harm, and hope for the best. And hold on tight. That's about all I have. It's just... And they still haven't released the damn Epstein Files. The Justice Department has been subpoenaed. I don't know how to pronounce words, but subpoenaed, subpoenaed, something like that. I know what it is. I just don't know perfectly how to pronounce the word. To maybe like, hey, release them, and then we'll see if they do. And I can't wait until they finally release all the files, and it's confirmed that Trump is like all over them, and nothing happens to him. It's gonna be super great. Can't wait for that. According to God, the everlasting covenant is to love your neighbor, and the world is working on breaking it. You know, the world's always been pretty good at that. And Christianity is not helping, frankly. Christianity, religion in general, has not been helping in that regard. I mean, heck, even Jesus said, I'm here to put brother against mother, mother against son, all that other stuff. Brother against brother. I'm here to bring division and a sword. Because you need to follow me and not the world. And if people don't agree with me, then you're gonna have to cut some ties. You're gonna have to cut some ties. Wow, you're so cute. Well, thank you. Yes versus no, like Cain and Abel. Yeah, there's that story. No, look back at the camera. I was actually looking at the wrong camera. Don't know what I'm doing. Don't ask me what I'm doing. It just repeats. It does just repeat. Hello. Favorite ice cream? It varies. I'm more into chocolate chip right now. Just some standard chocolate chip. Cookie dough and cookies and cream are pretty good. Hello. Do you watch WWE? Nope, I do not. Hello, Doom. Welcome. I did hear about Hulk Hogan. No. That's a thing that happened. Can't say I'm as devastated about that as I was sad about Ozzy, but you know, whatever. You know, R.I.P. Ozzy Osbourne. Hulk Hogan, especially in his later years, really became like a Trump supporter racist. just kind of a, yeah, he wasn't really advocating and supporting good stuff at the end there. But you know, it's still, you know, loss of human life, I guess, you know, whatever. He did die of cardiac arrest. Now, the news of Ozzy is sad. R.I.H. rest in hell. You know, maybe. Ozzy is sad. I'll be sad about Ozzy. I also had a classmate pass away this last week. I didn't know her all too well, but I went to school with her the majority of K through 8th grade. I don't know if she went to the same high school as me. She might have. But, like, I knew her. She was cool. She passed away suddenly. Just shit happens, man. Life comes at you fast. And you don't know how much time you have on this planet. Your time is constantly running out. You're getting closer and closer to running out, and you don't know. Like, the sand in the hourglass is running, but you can't see the hourglass, and you don't know how much sand you have left in the hourglass. You just know that it's going, and you're getting closer and closer. So, fucking make the most of the time that you have now. Now. Because, you know, don't wait till tomorrow. I don't know who promised you tomorrow, but, you know, I know some people personally who thought they had tomorrow and they didn't. So it just don't work like that. What is that? Oopsleberries? Nice. That's why we have to live life and love. Live life and love. I agree with that. No one knows. No one knows your time is coming. Who are you talking to? They kind of just chat. The world feels extremely ominous and foreboding right now.
I was asking if who you were talking to when you were talking to me.
Oh, I was talking to my wife. Yes, my wife is next to me. The world feels extremely ominous and foreboding right now. So many issues that require super specific solutions and not enough time to solve all of them. Yeah, and not enough care, too, honestly. I mean, not enough people really coming together and trying to make change, including the people who are fighting. You know, it's like, you know, stop. I am taken. You know, there's a culmination of things happening. There's a lot of things happening. Definitely a lot going on. I will say, I was listening through one of my, I think it was my live chat with Jogs, and you were eating something on the side. You got like fast food or something, and it was just crinkling the entire conversation. I didn't know it would be like that loud. So just something to keep in mind, I guess, for both of us. One of the big ones I recently realized is that governments need to crack down on social media algorithms that track user data to improve engagement. That creates echo chambers. Society cannot live in a world of echo chambers. It will be our downfall. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I mean, hell, escaping... I had to actively escape the echo chamber of social media when I was deconstructing, and it helped me get out. But I intentionally escaped it when I was still trying to become an apologist, when I was still trying to work on, you know, studying and learning more to become an apologist. I wanted to hear what the opposition had to say. I wanted to hear arguments against my stance so that I could, how else are you going to prepare to defend it? So I had to intentionally put forth effort to move the needle out of, you know, the Christian side of the algorithm to hear what the others had to say. And it helped me get out of Christianity. It was pretty cool. It helped me become an atheist. Helped put me where I am now. And I'm very happy that I did that. I'm very happy that I got out of that bubble. Because that's how I describe it a lot of times too. Just people living in just Christian bubbles. Just in this worldview, and they don't really listen or think about much of what's happening beyond that worldview or what's going against the worldview. It's just like, I'm in my own little Jesus world. And it's just not a good place to be. Hello, welcome. Peace. I love Jesus. Cool. Not a lot of people have that age-old wisdom to challenge their own beliefs. They are comfortable with their current beliefs and assumptions and think nothing will go wrong or sideline them. Yeah, it's comfortable. They can't be bothered to question themselves. I definitely sometimes miss just the shroud of ignorance of living in the Christian bubble. I absolutely miss that as well. Miss that sometimes. Sometimes I just wish I could just put the veil back over my eyes and just go back to the simpler times where, I don't know, ignorance is bliss, I guess. You have questioned? That's good. You should always question. You should always question everything, including the answers that you got from your questioning. Always question. Always ask questions. Never stop asking questions. Never stop learning. Never stop trying to improve. Never stop challenging your viewpoints. Always keep growing. The shroud of ignorance makes everything feel magical. You experience the sublime all the time, but when your mind is masterful, you experience the sublime less and less. I'd agree. I would agree. I live most of my life within just this magical bubble of like, everything's gonna be okay. God has me. Nothing can go wrong. All this stuff. I remember, I wanted to make a post or something about this. And I know I've mentioned it. I'm sure I've mentioned it somewhere in my content. When they overturned Roe v. Wade, I think I was already an atheist. I was either already an atheist or already an atheist who like wasn't ready to admit that he was an atheist. Like I was like out the door, done with Christianity. Definitely not a Christian. If anything, I was a theist. But I was pro-choice at the time, and I just freaking remember how much that would have how much that would have excited me as a Christian, as a pro-life Christian. I would have loved. I was so against abortion, so against it. That was something that I wanted to speak out against, as a part of my activism and, apologetics and whatnot. It was I thought abortion was just completely monstrous and terrible and wrong, and it could never happen. And I just imagine how absolutely gleeful a younger Christian Drew would have been if they overturned Roe v. Wade while I was still young and Christian. Because that's the world that I wanted to fight for. But they overturned it after I was already not a Christian, after I was pro-choice. And I was just devastated. And still am. But it's just so weird remembering how I used to be. And like, I sometimes think back at like Christian Drew. Like I read Mere Christianity recently by C.S. Lewis, I think it is. I should know this. I should know this off the top of my head. Pretty sure it's C.S. Lewis. And I'm just sitting here like, this really doesn't do anything for me, but like a younger Drew would have loved this book. Loved this book. And it's just so insane thinking about just the drastic change that I have gone through in my beliefs and my stances and stuff from when I was younger. I find the answers from those who have tried to hide them. Always good. What's in my ear? An earring. And I hope that's it. I would hope. I got a lot of answers from history and archaeology. It's a good place to look. From a scientific perspective. What from a scientific perspective? What are we looking at from a scientific perspective? But yeah, it's just crazy. Abortion is ending life. It's a little more complicated than that, because we can get into... There's not really a scientific consensus on when life begins. Most abortions, the vast majority, take place during the first trimester, when the line is still pretty fuzzy. You're not really going to see it hardly at all. And if you do, only in very special rare cases in like second and third trimester. I don't even think you'd see it in third trimester. But the vast majority, the overwhelming majority, happen in the first trimester, where that line between what is alive and what is not is still fuzzy. But even if it is ending a life, nobody has the right to use your body without your permission, without your consent, and you have to take the mother's life into consideration. You also have to take into consideration the fact that most women who have these abortions don't just skip merrily down to the abortion clinic. A lot of times it's a very hard decision that is to save their life, and it's very difficult for them. So it gets a little bit more complicated than just murder. Because my deconstruction coincided with me growing up, it has always felt like Christianity goes into the same category as Santa and the Tooth Fairy, a phase that one grows out of. Yeah, I mean, I made a post long ago, and probably in like the first year of my content creation, where someone told me to grow up, come back to Christ, and I made a video about it. I'm just like, from my perspective, I have grown up. I've kind of put away childish, mystical things like Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and Easter Bunny and God. Things that we just don't have reason to believe. It's like, from my perspective, I have. Maybe it's fuzzy to some, but it's not fuzzy to me, respectfully. To each their own. That doesn't give them the right to end an innocent life. You have the right over who gets to use your body, especially if the person or thing using your body is a detriment. Because pregnancy and childbirth, even healthy pregnancy and childbirth, is a lot. It's a lot to go through. It is a huge, huge, huge ask for anyone to go through. And there's a million and one things that could go wrong from point A to point Z. So it gets a little bit more complicated than that. A lot of times laws are made for stupid reasons, like why there ever was a marriage law to begin with. I was abandoned by my father and did not grow up with a Bible or church or any religion. I disagree that it makes it okay to end a child's life. For one thing, it does get a little fuzzy on to if that's an actual child or not. But unfortunately, yeah. If someone's hooked up to you, like say for some reason we have this machine that pumps some of your blood and stuff directly into somebody else, you have the right at any given point to unhook yourself from that machine. Even if unhooking yourself from that machine means that the person is going to die, you still have that right, especially if it is a detriment for you to be hooked up to that machine. You have that right, and sometimes you have to make that call.
Also, not to mention, there are some times that women have to have like these abortion medications because the fetus inside them is no longer living, but their body is not doing what it's supposed to get it out, and it's making her sick.
Yeah.
And could cause sepsis and could cause her to die.
Yeah. Miscarriages.
The child is not even alive anymore.
Yeah, it's gotten bad with miscarriages because there is stuff like that where the child's like not dead or not alive.
Now with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, we can't get that.
Yeah, we can't even do stuff like that and help a woman with a miscarriage, and women have suffered for that. So it even goes deeper than just abortion. It really is an assault on women having to deal with anything like that. How tall are you? 5'6"? Close. I'm 5'8". Early term fetuses do not have moral agency. They are not thinking, feeling, beings with a will. They cannot be wronged and therefore lack moral value. Perhaps. It's only the idea that we have a soul that could completely justify being anti-abortion before that point. Every single life is a miracle at birth. This is proof of divinity and creator, and it's backed by science and mathematics. I disagree with that. The word miracle, I don't know if it's really anything miraculous or divine. So by that same logic, if I have a baby who is hungry, but I am exhausted from work, I shouldn't have to feed it because that would be a detriment to me, as I should be allowed to let it just die. See, at that point, the baby is not directly connected to you. That is an actual life, because one of the determining factors on what alive is viability. Once a child exists outside the womb, you can't just kill it. You can't just let it die. You can give it away or something like that, especially if it's not like hooked up to you and using your body. It's not using your body. And if you can't take care of it, at that point you can put it up for adoption or something, or drop it off at a firehouse or something along those lines. Baby can't provide for itself out of the womb, but it can survive outside of the womb. It can survive without being directly hooked up to someone outside of the womb. That's what it really comes down to, is using somebody else's body. Even when someone dies, if they haven't signed off on being an organ donor while they were still alive, we can't touch their organs. We can't touch their organs. They get to just die with them. Because even though they are dead now and not using those organs are just going to die with them, and little Timmy next door could use this heart, we still respect that and just let the organs die with the person, even though they don't need it anymore. And they are dead. I don't agree with an abortion unless it's to save the mother. I think it's a completely complicated situation. And I also think, so I don't know the genders of everyone in chat, but I think as a biological male, someone who does not have a uterus and who will never have to face the personal decision myself of whether or not to get an abortion, I don't think I have the right to make the decision on who gets to have an abortion and who does not. I don't think I have that right. I don't think I should have that right. It's not my uterus, not my choice. So I think really the only stance that I can have is pro-choice. Late-term fetuses do have moral agency, and therefore there is moral weight to their lives. It's a much more of a formed human at that point. Hey bud, it's you. How's it going? It's going all right. Before that time frame, it is a definite fact that the fetus only has the value the mother decides it has. Her bodily autonomy takes priority. Her bodily autonomy does take priority. I think for you it is complicated, not for most people. I think for someone who is facing the choice of like abortion or death, I think a 9-year-old girl who is facing carry this child to term after being raped is facing carry this child to term or get an abortion. I think it gets more complicated, because that's what comes into play with the abortion topic. Because we're not making laws that have exceptions. We are making all or nothing laws, meaning women who are having miscarriages, who the baby has already naturally died inside of them, are dying because they can't get proper care because of not access to abortion medications. It means that 9-year-old who was raped by her uncle has to carry the child to term. It means that this mother who something's gone wrong with the fetus or the baby, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to kill both of them unless she gets an abortion, it takes her with it. It's all or nothing when it comes to this abortion topic, unfortunately. So it does get complicated. It's not a logical argument, if you say so. You taking phone calls? Discord chats, so basically the same thing, yeah. That's a scenario that I agree with for sure regarding abortion, yeah. But it doesn't matter. Because anti-abortion is anti-abortion and anything to do with it, period, across the board.
There are so many gray areas regarding.
So many gray areas.
It's not just black and white.
So many gray areas that get ignored.
It's not just black and white like some people think.
I think defining whether someone gets to live or die based on their dependency on others is convenient, but fails to attack the heart of the issue. After that time frame, you're dealing with a person, a moral agent who has a right to life, which is more important than bodily autonomy. You have to take a stance on gray areas. Yes, you do. Because the world's not black and white. And if you treat it as black and white, a lot of those gray areas get ignored and a lot of people suffer because of it. That's stupid because it's a very nuanced subject. I consider myself independent party. You consider yourself independent party for what? There are exceptions, but it looks like the exceptions have become the rules, if you haven't noticed. What do you mean by that? This is about politics. I'm new to the stream. Mostly like atheist versus theist discussions. But with that, we get into some politics. And like right now we're talking about abortion. You know, just stuff that is in the greater umbrella that you would see with Christian versus atheist or theist versus atheist. It's like, I get it. I don't want the fetus or the baby or whatever you want to call it to be terminated. I don't. And that's not really the main point of an abortion. It's to terminate a pregnancy, which unfortunately takes the fetus with it. I don't like that. But I think the mother's life has to take priority. And I also say this, and hopefully I'm not strawmanning anyone, I'm just kind of saying this. I hope every single person in this chat who is defending abortion is also defending things like free school lunches and childcare, and who's against child labor laws and against child marriages and things like that. I really hope, because I see that a lot in the pro-life crowd, where we just want the baby to be born and then we really just don't give a shit about it after that. We really just don't care about it after that. Don't care what happens to the kid after that. So I really, frankly, if anyone isn't for free school lunches, or anyone who isn't against child marriage or child labor, is arguing with abortion, I don't think I want to argue with you. Which I don't know if anyone of you are, but like just as a general rule of thumb for me. There are exceptions, but it looks like, oh, I already read that, sorry. Some abortions are necessary, but saying all or nothing is problematic for any society. I agree. But when you have anti-abortion laws, it becomes all or nothing in most cases. That's the problem. It would be better if we just kind of didn't have them and just respected a woman's right to choose what happens with her body and who gets to use her body. Regarding most political topics, I'm independent thought. Regarding abortion, if it's black and white, we should have abortion. Well, I agree. If it's black and white, which I'm glad you put that if there. How would you know if you aren't involved in every single circumstance? That's the thing. I'm not. So the person who is involved in the individual circumstance should have the right to decide and choose and figure out their own personal circumstance. That's the point. That's one of the big points of this.
If you are not involved, you should not be able to make the decision.
Yeah. It's not my uterus, not my choice. Plain and simple. especially to violate the bodily autonomy of another person. And I know it's kind of an overused argument, but I think it's absolutely valid. Taking someone's rights, taking rights that we give to corpses. Corpses have more bodily autonomy than a woman who's living in an area that doesn't allow abortion. Because if the person didn't sign off to be an organ donor before they died, nobody gets to use their organs. Nobody gets to use their body without their permission. We respect that right for corpses. Even if it means that all their organs just get to rot and die with them while little Timmy dies in the next room because he doesn't get a heart. We still respect that. But a woman doesn't have rights over who or what gets to use her uterus, her body. And, the rest of her body, because it's not just her uterus, but mostly the uterus. I think on the surface we get this idea of like killing babies is wrong. I agree. I don't really know any ideas, any topics where if you say the solution is murder babies, I would be on board with. If for really any topic. I don't even consider abortion murdering babies. But with like any topic, if you say, hey, I have a solution to this problem and it involves murdering babies, I'm going to advise that you go back to the drawing board. Like, it's a valid hang-up to get on. It is. But it's so much more complicated than that. It gets so much more complicated than that. How would you know if you are involved in dance? You use a Frankenstein monster to throw at people. I use a Frankenstein monster to throw at people? How so? Smokey. It's Smokey. There's her face.
We have all the cats around us.
And Snickers.
And peanuts over
And my phone doesn't like that. Peanuts. Sorry, the audience probably didn't like that either. I'll stop jostling you around now. Forgive me for causing motion sickness. You piled every woman into one category. I didn't pile every woman into one category. I'm saying that abortion laws pile every woman into one category. Abortion laws make it all or nothing. I argue like most people argue these days. Sure. If that's how most people argue, I think that's a good thing. If people are willing to see the black and white, or see the gray areas, and not just black and white. Because it does get more complicated. But abortion laws aren't complicated. In most cases, it's either a complete ban on anything to do with abortion. Even, like Taylor pointed out, abortion pills that help you pass a miscarriage, where the fetus is already gone and dead and can't do anything with. Even in instances like that, those pills aren't allowed to be used in certain states, where the child then just, or the fetus, it's just a corpse now, whatever's left, just rots away inside of the woman and causes sepsis and whatnot, and then she dies for no reason. You're not even saving anyone at that point. So I'm not all or nothing.
That's what these laws are.
It's what these laws are. It's one of my biggest issues with them. The Supreme Court only gave the right of the state to choose. The Supreme Court did only give the right of the state to choose. And the states fucking took that. And that's the thing. It shouldn't be up for discussion. Every woman should have the right to choose, not any form of government. It should never be put in the hands of any form of government. The Supreme Court had decided that it's hands off, nobody gets to choose, and then they undid that. If you don't like the laws, move to another state. See, that's a for now issue. But we do have government officials who, in the federal government, who also don't like abortion and could still push and take away rights. Your state could turn and push away rights. Plus, it's a little more complicated. I'm a low-income family. It is not as simple as I can just move to a different state. If I could do that, I would simply move to a different country.
So a woman has no choice. In some states, they don't.
So a woman has
In
no choice.
certain states, they don't.
In certain states, they don't. There
And
needs
yeah,
to be.
it might be medical malpractice, but it's either they give them the medication to save their life, but then they get in trouble for giving them the medication, and they could lose their medical license just for trying to save the woman's life.
After the fetus is already gone.
Because of the laws, they are protected. They don't have to give the medication because they're not allowed to with these laws in certain states, to where they legally cannot be sued for malpractice because it's against the law. They can't do it in that state.
There needs to be more scientific information and insight in discussions about abortion law. Too much instinctual ideology and no rational foundation. Yeah, a lot of it's just Christian-based, even though Christianity wasn't always against abortion. It's just ideology. It's just what you were raised, and no real actual scientific thought or any just human thought is put into it. My opinion, it should be legal but discouraged and frowned upon to abuse abortion like a contraception. It's very complex, so there's many reasons to have abortions. I could list 10 reasons. Yeah. And I could frown upon somebody for just abusing abortions, but again, it's not my body. Because I don't like abortion. I don't like that idea.
And the people who say go to a different state, some women literally can't.
Yeah. It's not an option for everyone. Not everyone can just pack up and move and uproot their entire life. If I could do it, like I said, if my content creation took off to where I could make a decent living working from home doing content creation, I probably wouldn't live in the U.S. I probably will not. I would probably pack up and leave, especially if I was making good, decent money and I had the money to do so. I'd yeet the fuck right out of here.
But you speak like it's your body. Why shouldn't he? Honestly.
I speak like it's my body, but I'm fighting for choice. I am fighting for everyone's hands to be off, including my own. That's what I'm fighting for. And I think that's really the only stance that any man should be fighting for.
Just because he's not a woman doesn't mean he shouldn't be fighting for us.
Yeah. R.I.P. Hogan, man. Prayers to him and his family. Yeah. Rest in peace to anyone who passes away. Hogan was kind of a Trump supporter and a racist. So, I'm not devastated about it. But, I'm not going to celebrate anyone's death. Or anything, but, not really devastated. You ever been with a girl who did that? I've never been with a girl who got an abortion, if that's what you're asking, which I assume it is. Part of understanding the positions of others is empathizing and putting yourself in that position to visualize it properly. Yeah. And I try to be a very empathetic and understanding person. It changes everything. When you're with a girl who does that, yeah, I imagine. It's a thing. It's a heavy topic that has a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? It has a lot of effects. A lot of stuff happens as a result. You think it's not like killing a baby, and then you realize, it's more complicated than that. I suffer from the disease of homosexuality, so I don't have to worry about abortion. Hey, there you go. Blessing and a curse, one might say.
So why can't there be exceptions as well as responsibility? That's what we're saying. These laws do not give exceptions.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of here for. There can't be exceptions.
They're not giving exceptions. It is all or nothing with these laws. Certain states have completely banned it to where we can't even get the medication we need if we're having a miscarriage. That is what we are saying. They don't take into consideration the gray areas.
Yeah, Broken Spirit, we're actually agreeing with you.
We are agreeing.
in a few areas.
I don't know where the disconnect is, but we are agreeing. we're saying there should be. There literally should be exceptions, and there's not in certain states because they just completely have banned it.
Then why don't I fight for that? I am.
That's what he's doing.
I am broken.
That is exactly what he's doing.
I'm trying to explain this gently. I am. I'm not saying all or nothing. I'm saying women should have the right to choose.
He's saying that's what these laws are.
And they shouldn't.
These laws
and
are
there shouldn't
all
be,
or nothing.
And there shouldn't be restrictions. And there shouldn't be restrictions.
He's not shifting around.
Women's right to choose.
He is not shifting around.
Use a condom or abstain. Abstinence is the worst form of birth control. Abstinence-based sex education often fails, way too often.
You say use a condom or abstain. There is rape.
There is rape. There are, in every contraceptive you can look at, instances where even if you're doing everything correctly, it could still fail. Not to mention the amount of times that we could do things incorrectly. There is rape. It gets more complicated than that. I contracted homosexuality on my birthday, first day alive, and I have to deal with being a homo. I feel ya. That was me. And, boy, was it something. I was at a protest yesterday, and there was a huge argument over politics amongst the protesters. And it was very sad how we were so divided and friendships ruined because of ideologies. Can be. In instances of rape, it should always be the woman's choice. I agree. But I just kind of think it should always be their choice. Refuse to wear condoms. Condoms are good. Contraception and... Well, I was going to say the two most important things, but clearly the other one doesn't fucking matter because I can't remember it. Consent. It's very important. It's the most important. Jesus Christ, Drew. Consent and contraception are two crucial things that every sex education class should teach. And again, I want to point out, I may have forgotten the word, but consent is very, 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 very important. I forgot about consent for a second. I might be the worst human. Damn. Outside of rape and incest, she already makes her choice, doesn't she? Not always necessarily. Consenting...
Sometimes they will take all of any form of contraception they can. Whether that's condoms, the pill, whatever, to prevent it. They can do as much as they can to prevent it. And then it's sometimes can still end up happening when she doesn't want it to.
Yep. And consent to sex isn't necessarily always consent to pregnancy.
Exactly.
And then there are people who, and then I love how we're just going through all these gray areas because it just further explains how there's gray areas. There are also people who intentionally get pregnant, who want to get pregnant, but then end up in a situation where something's gone wrong and now both her and the fetus are going to die unless she gets an abortion. It's situations like that.
Broken Spirit, as much as they can, without getting a freaking hysterectomy and just completely removing their ability to get pregnant. Some women want to, but then doctors refuse because, her husband might want to have kids someday.
Yeah.
Future husband, whatever. Or, she's too young. And it's like, no.
And
Just do it.
Hysterectomy is really the only, for sure thing.
For sure way.
Because there's,
You can get your tubes tied or whatever, but it can still happen.
That could still happen. And even with guys, vasectomies don't always work.
Yeah, they're not always 100%.
So,
the only for sure way is to remove the part.
It's just completely remove the part.
So yes, as much as they can.
Which unfortunately that also creates a cascade of side effects for the woman and medical stuff for the woman. Mm-hmm. Otherwise it would be that simple.
There are only so many things we can do to prevent it without going that far as to just completely getting surgery to remove it.
You reap what you sow. If you choose not to use protection, you put both yourself and others at risk of transmitting diseases. Mm-hmm. I think I'd agree. especially if you're going to have multiple partners. Contraception is just important. It's very important. Ain't no one in my sack, baby. Well, you're gay, so you don't even have to worry about it. Sounds like you make excuses so there doesn't have to be any responsibility. I'm saying it's so much deeper than that. And I've been trying to explain it for a hot minute now, that it's so much deeper than I just don't want to take responsibility for my actions. It's so much deeper, and there's so many different scenarios, and there's so many different instances within the large gray area, is what I'm saying. But you always go back to abortion for any reason. You do have the right to choose who gets to use your body. You do still have that right. In that case, I think I can agree with the previous comment of frowned upon, in areas where it's not necessarily necessary. But you do still have that right over your body. It just gets more complicated. And I would prefer laws that just tackle abuse of abortion over what we have now. I still don't even know if I'd be on board with those completely, but I would even be on board with that. Like if these states that are just all or nothing, and they have chosen nothing, no abortion, anything, wanted to push towards, all right, women just can't abuse it, I would vote for that, because at least it's a push in that direction, and then maybe we can get over the last hurdle later.
Or maybe not as many of us are dying.
Yeah.
For no reason.
I look like I won sneeze, man. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
I select the cute gentleman from the gym to use my body. Well, you should still use contraception for STDs. It's very important. I'm probably nearing the end of the live stream. Should probably go ahead and end it soon. We've kind of died down a little bit with the discussion, but it's an important discussion. Important discussions that need to be had. So I do think it's about time to end it. I have to get up before the sun does tomorrow, and it's 10:15 where I'm at, so I gotta go to bed. So thank you, everyone, so much for being here. Thank you for the good conversation. And maybe we can continue it in another live. If there's ever a conversation that I cut short or anything, we can always pick it up in the next live. Or if you're having a conversation with somebody else, you can always put it in the comment section. I always post these live streams after I'm done with them. So there'll be a comment section that you can continue to engage if I cut anyone off. But I am going to go ahead and just give it a hard cut off because I got to get to bed. And I didn't want to cut it off because we were having an intense discussion. But like I said, we're kind of like, it kind of cooled down. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that cool down. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. Always appreciated. Any kind of interaction with my content is always appreciated. Always super cool. I usually go live every Tuesday night at around 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I try to do some more lives here and there throughout the week sporadically. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your night, day, whenever you're watching this. So.